Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to another Sunday night's action courtesy of Sim Racing World. DSL Welding Services V8 Supercars return for round number 4. And it's been a week of fun and phenomenal action from the Circuit De Barcelona Catalunya. My name is Scotty Radagon Rank, and I'm alongside Mr. Hughes. Now, not as funny as the original Hughesy. Do you take that to be a compliment, or, well, do you take that to heart, Hughesy?
Look, a bit of column A, bit of column B. But, we still love you, mate. We have to make sacrifices to love you, Scotty, don't we?
I thought I was making the sacrifice to sit here and enjoy your commentary, to be perfectly honest. I could be anywhere else with my Sunday night. No. I want to sit down and I want to commentate with Hughesy. That's what I want to do. Circuit De Barcelona Catalunya. Tyre wear paradise if you love saving your tyres. And, if you want to use and abuse them and they'll all be burned up within a lap or two, Hughesy, we are looking at a tyre-intense race. That much is for certain. Here so far tonight, qualifying underway, and times will be coming through on the board here in a few moments. Any keynotes you think coming into tonight's race?
I reckon, the main one you said before, excuse me, Scotty, was tyre wear. That's going to be a big one. I think fuel will be a massive one, because I believe if the supercars are running the same deal as the Porsches, they will be very tight on fuel, so they will have to fuel save and be heavily reliant on a safety car as well. Because if they don't get a safety car, then there'll be I think there'll be a chance for a bit of a splash and dash for all drivers. But again, depends on safety cars. So that's going to be the deciding factor for tonight, mate.
Now, quite a wide main straight here creates a unique situation based upon, certainly that we've seen so far this season with the standing starts. We've been at tracks that are very, very narrow front straights, but we did see an opportunity where there was 4 wide, and somebody read it wrong in the Porsche race on Thursday night, expecting potentially a lap 1 safety car again, Hughesy?
Yeah, I think so, mate. You've got the curb on the inside of turn 1 where you can basically put the middle of your car over that curb and not have any repercussions. But if you do, however, get, say, the right-hand side tyres on it, the car will hit it and you'll literally just get bounced into the air, and there's a high chance you'll launch into the next poor sod on your left-hand side. So, very, very possible, mate. But then after that, I think probably after turn 3 and 4, the field should be well and truly settled by then, with a bit of luck.
Righto, qualifying is underway. We are 3/4 of the way through the first lap. Bruce Tennick's been fast and up front over the last couple of weeks. We finally see the return of Darren Lobb back from South Africa. Remember that phenomenal drive from him back at Montreal that led himself away to the first victory of the season. He will return to action. Will we see a return to form? New drivers as well. The entry of David Blake last week for the first time to the Sim Racing World Series was a reasonable drive from him. He'll probably be looking for a little bit more. Any names you've got your eyes on here tonight, Hughesy?
Look, mate, I haven't really look, Tannick, I'm a big fan of Tannick. I have watched him in previous races and broadcasting. He seems to be relatively quick and also consistent. So I'm tipping he'll be good for the obviously for Division 1, and obviously all the boys from Fishy Motorsports, they don't muck around. You've also got I can't think of his name now. His name's just skipping my mind. Jamie Dyke. Hopefully he's racing tonight. He's always quick. We both know how quick he can be. So hopefully if he's in tonight's race, mate, he'll be lighting up the timesheets as per usual.
Yep, Fishy Boys out in force as usual here tonight. Time's coming in nice and early, and your favourite driver jumps to the top of the timing sheets to start things off. Bruce Tannick out nice and early, has set the fastest lap so far. Paul Gerlin in Super 2 has come through and set his Melville Equipment Corporation fastest lap. Reminder, Melville Equipment Corporation, your fastest lap sponsor for not only qualifying, but also both of the races here tonight. We'll be looking at peak lap times, but it's not about peak lap times around Circuit De Barcelona Catalunya. It is about peak lap times for the next 10 minutes or so. A couple drivers on a lap. Towards the tail end of the lap at this point in time is actually Darren Lobb, who's coming around turn 12 on the run to turn 13 in that final chicane. Might be a good opportunity to grab a driver and actually go for an on-board lap, because it's an interesting lap. There's a lot of intricacies and there's a lot of technical aspects, but just about every sector of the circuit has got its own approach that you have to take to it, and ways that you optimize the lap, Husey.
Yeah, you're right, mate. And plus, you know yourself from Thursday night, all the sausage curbs that are hanging around the track as well, which have just been recently updated a few months ago, I think, from iRacing with the sausage curbs, and they are deadly, which you can appreciate. Particularly, I think it's at turn. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's at turns between 6 and 8. Then you've got the sausage curbs out of the fast right-hander, where I believe it was. It wasn't Yuki Tsunoda, but I think it was Pierre Gasly, how he had a massive shunt a few years ago when he was in the main Red Bull team. Then also in the last sector where you've just got the sausage curbs everywhere, and you can't really, well, in the Porsches you couldn't ride them. Supercars, you can get away with it because it's just such a big, bulky, heavy car.
And just sort of soak it all up. On board with Peter Pavlovich. So far tonight, he's on the run through turn number 4 at this point in time. Big old wiggle. So it's going to be about managing that throttle pressure. The Porsches obviously is big in terms of that as well. You need the car to rotate. But the V8 Supercars, it's all about how much you can keep those rears underneath you without lighting them up too much. Darren Lobb has now gone quickest overall with that previous lap. We saw the very tail end of it. That's the chicane that Shuzi was talking about. That's those sausage curves. The right-hander up the hill now. He'll try not to use too much of that curbing to pick up the off-track. I think he may have just gotten away with that one. That was the limit, though, in terms of where the off-track is. Yep, so, and then down to the hairpin. This is your primary overtaking.
This sausage curve is a bit touch and go as well. If you get a wheel on it, you do get wheel spin like that.
Oh, the handiwork from Pavlovich! He tried. He tried very, very hard to hang on to that one and hang on to the lap. It looked like it was going to be a good lap for Peter Pavlovich.
Yeah.
Anyway, not so much. Bruce Tannock just returning to the circuit. He'll probably get one lap in here, and he may have enough time to try and jam out enough with lap times just shy of 2 minutes. Time is at a premium at this point in time, so you'd have to say there's probably 2 fast laps left for these guys, but they've got to be going now.
There's a fair few tracks there's a fair few drivers on track, rather is what I'm trying to say. So trying to find the space would be a little bit hard. Particularly in the last sector, we can see a massive cluster of cars getting around. I think there's about 10 cars I can see on the timing screen around there. So that's going to be quite a busy lap if you're trying to warm up your tyres for a warm up to a hot lap. So I believe that's our good man, Mr. Cowie, is it? That's on screen at the moment.
That's what I was just going to say. Where's Mr. Cowan at this point in time?
And there he is. You think of him, he appears. He works in mysterious ways, Mr. Cowie, doesn't he?
Right. So, moving through qualifying at this point in time, have we got a fair few viewers tuning into us for your Sunday nights? Let us know out in the chat what you got up to over the weekend. Tuesday, I know I got up to some interesting things. You got to turn some laps around Le Mans. In the famous 24 hours of race of southern France, as it is absolutely, definitely not the 24 hours of Le Mans series at all in iRacing.
Sadly, I didn't get to turn laps. I got to participate in being a spectator and a big fan of the team, getting to do the Le Mans. Sadly, I was on work duties all weekend, but yeah, interesting 24 hours for my teammates. I know they got into a bit of strife, but that's what Le Mans does, mate. You either have a very bad experience or you have a absolute excellent experience. Just one or the other. There's no in between with Le Mans. Sandown, yeah, David Kirby. Have the fish made it back from Sandown? Indeed, a few of them have. A few of them are still left over at the track. I believe Dodsey was actually out at Sandown across the course of the weekend. So I think the whole Fisher team was actually at Sandown as a massive group. I'm pretty sure yesterday I saw a little cheeky photo shared by Mr. Michael Whiting. I'm pretty sure. And your team couldn't go there and have a few frothies with them. I'm a bit disappointed, actually. Bloody work. Your team is saying that you got benched. They had an excess of drivers and they decided to opt out the worst driver and they picked Husey. They left you on the sidelines. Is that true? That tends to be the case, you know. Leave it at the gun. It's all right. I know how it is, boys. That's right, Stephen McCartan. I know it. That's right. We'll know that next time, mate. Don't worry.
Somebody's not getting any advice for the Porsches next week.
I'll be...
Wow, have a look at that from Mr. Brad Wall. We've been keeping an eye on him most of the way through the season, and he has been improving. Speaking about improving, that's about the most improvement he is going to put on display all season long. That is a cracking lap time for Mr. Wall.
He's got the bit between his teeth, doesn't he? He's just gone extremely fast. Super 2, Jesus.
You know the fun part? Now he's going to get to be the Wall out in front.
Oh, mate, he will be the Checo Perez of V8 Supercars. I'm loving this.
You reckon he's going to wear out some more front tyre than rear tyre today?
I think so. And, just between you and I, Mr. Scotty, don't tell the Sinkovich brothers about this, but I reckon the black and red looks a lot better than the white and red. Just between you and I. But I wonder if they're going to watch this back and say something to me.
Oh, they do. No, trust me, they do. I hear about it.
I do like the black and red. It really does look nice. The white and red just looked horrid. Not to sound rude, but I really like the black and red. It looks nice.
Reminder, Sinkovich boys, when you listen to this one back, my IndyCar needs painting with those new paints for Tuesday, so...
Yeah, get him out. Get onto it. Get him out now.
Mate, look, if you jump on here and say something, I'm actually more likely to get it painted. I ask for things to be painted, it doesn't happen. Somebody else tells them to be painted, it'll happen, you watch. Righto, qualifying starting to wind down. 3 minutes left on the clock. If you're not starting your final lap, you need to be right now. Remember, when that 15 minutes times out, you will have 2 or 3 seconds. Matt Keane is on a flyer. I was actually talking to one of Matt Keane's teammates over the week, or one of the drivers that drives quite regularly with him, a guy by the name of Connor Nixon. He said, yeah, Keane is absolutely loving driving around and running around in sim racing world at the moment. He's really enjoying the trucks on Monday night, and it looks like he has completely and utterly settled himself at home into the V8 Supercars as well. So he's taking his stock car tactics to the next level and applying them to, well, the Australian stock cars, shall we say.
What gap do we have between Mr. Keane and Bradley Wall? It doesn't look like it's that much, is it? Super 2. Oh, jeez, that's bugger all.
On overall pace, right now, Matty Keane's actually qualified, I believe that's P6, and Bradley Wall's P8 overall. So they are right up and truly, well and truly in the mix in terms of the overall lap times. Greg Johnson's off the track at this point in time. We're actually going to get an opportunity to have a look at the overall timing. So that is it. Darren Lobb, Sam Noble, Bruce Tannick. I was thinking of Tixier, who I have seen turning a few laps so far tonight. Robbie Bradbury's there in P4. Alan Dawson, that's a cracking lap for Mr. Dawson. He's having another phenomenal night here on the sim. Matty Keane, Gerard Sanfuentes, Brad Wall, David Coleman, and Paul Gerland's going to round out your top 10. From there on back, I believe it's Chris Miller, Peter Pavlovich, Mal Powell. Cowie is a long, long way down. Remember that phenomenal effort he showed back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. That was a phenomenal session from Cowie, and he was over the moon with that one of his best results and one that he will remember for a very, very long time. Minute left on qualifying. You've got to be about halfway through the lap at this point in time, or the lap's not going to count. And I think Darren Lobb and whoever's right behind him, I have a feeling it's Sanfuentes, aren't going to get this lap in. They're just slightly too far back. We have a whole host of cars coming through the final sector at this point in time. Jeremy Bush on screen might be about to improve. Chris Miller's just around the corner, just in front of him, or is that Tixier? I believe it might even be the 666. I believe was Tixier? No.
Yeah, I believe you might be right.
Darren Lobb is the 666. So... No, Lobb's in the middle of that. Right.
Oh, I'm loving that livery, the Mobile 1 car. That's a beautiful livery. Jesus.
Car's coming out of the final turn at this point in time. Will cross the line. Reese de Goey's on a lap. Will run out of time. 10 seconds left. So Darren Lobb and Sanfuentes. Darren Lobb's going to get this lap in. 2, 1. He is a metre shy of the line when that timed out. He did not get that extra lap in, but it does not matter because Darren Lobb will qualify on P1 and he will set your Melville Equipment Corporation pole position. Sam Noble of 9.5. Sim Sports off alongside of him, half a second back. That is a cracking lap time from Darren Lobb. I wonder whether or not he would have improved those 4,000s and dropped into the 46s. Bruce Tannock has run a phenomenal few rounds over the last couple of weeks. We'll be lining up alongside Robbie Bradbury. Alan Dawson off of P number 5 in the right sim racing machine alongside David Coleman, one of Coleman's most improved qualifying sessions so far this season. Matty Keane, the first of your Super 2 drivers, will be out of position number 7 alongside Gerard Sanfuentes. How are those drivers going to manage their races? Brad Wall will be in P2 of the Super 2s alongside P3 of Chris Miller, rounding out your top 10. Paulie Gerlin will be off of P number 11 in the DSL Racing entry. Alongside him is going to be Petar Pavlovich in the Century Motorsports machine. Andrew Cowan, a long, long way back in the performance sim racing entry, was racing for outright honours a few weeks ago, now outside the top 10. Mal Powell in the Whiskey Runners machine alongside him. David Blake in the 005, second week's racing so far in sim racing world, alongside Stefan Lawrence in one of the final running Super 1 drivers, right? Sim racing, Jeremy Bush and Daniel Fritz, P17 and P18. Greg Johnson, Team Greg, lockout on row number 10 on the grid. Dean Sinkovich and Michael Locke will be row number 11, followed by Blake Delaney, unable to set a qualifying time, believe was serving a post-race penalty from previous weeks. Michael Quash, John Day, Jet Murray, Greg Barber is your safety car driver alongside Tyson McAvoy. Those two will be in the safety car so far this evening. Mr. Nathan Howard is your broadcaster. Ignore that name out of the list. Brett Taylor, Reese DeGoey, and Stephen Sinkovich round out your positions. DeGoey was not able to set a competitive lap time. He was on a lap late in the session. What is going to decide things here tonight? And as that timer hits 2 minutes, that means the lights will start to fire up on the grid. It is time for race number 1 from Circuit De Barcelona Catalunya. Race number 1 from your sim racing world. DSL Welding Services, Sunday nights, and a huge launch from Brad Wall. He is going to get alongside Matty Keane straight away. So it is going to be on for the Super 2 lead down into turn number 1. And that is a phenomenal start from Brad Wall. He'll have the inside line. Who's got it off the front row of our Super 1s? They're going to have 3 wide through turn 1. Accident between Cowan and the 74 machine in the mid-pack. And that is going to bubble everyone up. They will get running through. Those cars don't look damaged. It is going to be Noble, however, that leads us the way. He's taken the whole shot down the inside, though. Darren Lobb's not had a piece of this. Runs him wide for Noble, and he will give that back up. So Darren Lobb returns from South Africa, returns to his leading ways. Huge stack up in the background at turn number 4. It is on in Repsol corner. Bruce Tannock gets through. Brad Wall's been spun. Safety car has been deployed, and I think that's the right call. We need a moment to gather ourselves up.
I reckon we're going to have to spend a few minutes on
there.
Everyone's checking up.
So that was because there was a car off on the infield, and they were trying to maintain their order because the safety car was called.
Right.
Which is the correct thing to do. They're trying to do it. They're just going about it in the wrong way. You want to get yourself running. You want to let it settle itself out. Race control will tell you exactly what to do. But you do not want to change position. Who's down off on the grass?
Yeah, what's he doing there? Jeez, must have locked a brake and tried to avoid contact, maybe. That's the only thing I could think of.
Andrew Cowan in the background, high, wide, and handsome. Off on the dirt. Looking for a 74 machine, I believe, as well, who was involved quite heavily in a lot of that. The 711 there is Daniel Fritz. Fritz, he's not had some fun over the last couple of weeks. He's been involved in a few incidents, and not too many of them have he actually been at fault. Reese DeGoey's the Century Motorsports car. The blue and yellow batteries livery on the center of your screen that got through there. And Jeremy Bush escaped with everything intact. Oh, all right. A lot to break down from lap number 1 of race number 1.
Wow, that was action-packed.
Anything out of all of that, Adam, that you've actually spotted? We've actually got another DSL Welding Services. So this is a secondary incident. Down through the inside was the fishing machine. I think that's Blake Delaney, is it?
I think that might... yes, it might be. if Lawrence got involved, got caught up in that accident. I think you might be right. I think that might be Blake Delaney. That's Stefan Lawrence there rejoining.
So it's David Coleman, makes a
Coleman.
lot more sense that it's David Coleman, actually.
We've pinned the blame on you. Sorry, buddy. That was our bad.
I was going to say, that would be a phenomenal flying start from Blake to come from the rear of the grid up to, what about effective P8? He's just tried to... The hole in front of him has opened up and disappeared nearly in an instant.
Now, what's happened here, though? Because, oh, God, that's another one. So this is where the checkup happens here, because we've got a DSL car rejoining. Checkup happens with the TMX car and the Mustang, I believe.
It's going to be further up in the background. So it's actually going to be Brad Wall checking up to allow Steven Sinkovic or Dean Sinkovic back onto the track.
So that's going to be probably 2 or 3 cars going to have to go for fast repairs and use allocation of it. Bit of a shame, really, but at least they can limp around, so it's not like they have to tow or anything.
My word. Sunday nights. They don't get off to casual starts, do they, Hughesy?
No, they don't, mate. I was just going to say before, I reckon we'll see a few of the fishy boys make their way through pretty quickly, particularly Blake and David Coleman. I know they were fast. Well, David was fast last week, but Blake wasn't racing last week, or last weekend, rather. But I reckon we'll see them both make their way through the field very shortly.
A whole bunch of checking up at the tail end of the field as everyone's trying to sort of pick their pace and everything through. So Noble's managed to grab this one away from Darren Lobb. In the end, when the safety car was called, the safety car is going to go ahead and accelerate away from the field. So it's going to be over to Sam Noble to control things, and it will be a single file start this time. So you won't see them fan out 4-5 wide as they were the last time through. Here we go through the Formula One chicane. Safety car is in the lane, and it's back into the leader's hands. And I have a feeling Noble's going to hold him. No, Noble's going real early. So he's trying to jump up, use that momentum. Here it will come. And Tanak is going to be all over the back of Darren Lobb here. You return from South Africa, and you return to the firing lines from Darren Lobb. Will he be able to get down the inside? He does show the nose there from Bruce Tanak, trying to fire the tyres up. He's done brake just that fraction earlier. Great run through turn 1 there from Lobb. And now he'll set about trying to chase down Sam Noble. This is the rear view from Bruce Tanak towards, I believe it's going to be Alan Dawson. So your top 5 drivers are all Super 1. And have a look at Matty Keane in P6. He restarted. And the first of the Super 2 drivers. And again, Noble just can't pull it up at turn 4.
Just gone too wide. He's just gone too deep.
He's weak there, and he's been weak on both of the opening laps.
Be going into, I reckon, because it's the second time he's done that now under green flag.
Well, the racecraft simulations entry will drop back to P2, and Bruce Tanak will now be all over his rear bumper. This has really helped Darren Lobb's situation. He is just immediately leaping up. Brett Taylor is going to be the driver who was deemed at fault for one of the incidents on the opening lap.
Not for is he going to pull that off? Yes, he will. Maybe. Yes, he will. He will just... Massive tank slapper.
All right, Sim Racing. So David Coleman goes from being the aggressor to being on the defensive. I believe that was Stefan Lawrence that slots his way through. Big old bit of wheel spin there from Lawrence. And Coleman wants that spot back. But I can tell you, Paulie Gerlin is backwards once again and facing the wrong direction. And Steven Sinkovic is missing a rear wing.
Whereabouts is Steven Sinkovic? Is he behind this pack of cars?
He's towards the tail end of town. He's in P20. This is Blake Delaney starting to get a little bit aggressive. So Delaney will line up a spot and try to get down the inside here of San Fuentes. Will he get the move done? No, they're going to go 2x2 through there. Checks up the Precision Sim Racing driver. And it's going to be slotting back in there for San Fuentes. Now he will get assaulted by coming through the background, and it will be Chris Miller will be the next car in the queue, and Chris Miller is currently sitting in P2. Remember, Brad Walls started right up alongside and had the spot one and done from Matty Keane on the run to turn number 1. Well,
Oh, is that,
Settling in.
oh, David Coleman's trying around the outside. Is he going to pull that off? We see someone like a break in front of him. He's made that move, stick around the outside. That was a good move by David Coleman. That was really good.
Just hanging on to. Is that Petar Pavlovich that he's managed to get around there as well? I get the feeling it might be. That KFC entry looks quite similar. Oh, all over the curbing.
Jeez.
He is not happy with the car at the moment.
Is that a spin? Is that a spin at the back there? Down the way?
So the issue here is you've got to keep the eyes looking everywhere at all times, don't you, Husey? Because action's
you do.
Is that Greg Johnson on the right-hand side of your shot here? Gets a wiggle. That's an early downshift. Sideways into the corner. Will make direct one-on-one contact with Dean Sinkovic. He'll yield the place, and it's going to be the other car that manages to slot on through here, and I think that's Mal Powell, who I got the opportunity to talk to last night. Mal loves his racing. A little bit of a dirt driver.
Oh, Jesus, Dean. Massive tank slapper, mate. Christ.
Dean will earn style points, but he won't earn speed points.
What's happening to Greg?
Greg Johnson will lock it up.
Oh. Now he's got to wait, play the waiting game. Don't, yeah, you can reverse, mate, but don't drive out till you're a little bit freer than that. Yeah, you should be right to go now. Oh, he could have gone.
And I've just seen Andrew Coleman's got a ton of damage on the front end of his car. Sorry, Andrew Cowan, not Coleman. That's David Coleman I'm thinking of. Andrew Cowan's got a ton of damage. So Cowie going backwards continues to hurt. And is that Matty Keane? No, that's not Matty Keane. That is the 10 machine of Matthew Locke that he will get down the inside of. And Hughes spotted something else.
Where was the damage on Cowie's car? I didn't see any damage there.
The right front corner.
Oh, right.
It's basically the wheel guard.
Ah, okay, I'm with you now. Yeah, rightio. So,
Stefan Lawrence is going to try and get down the inside here of Chris Miller. They will go side by side now, and Coleman's going to try and line up the grabs way too much curb. Looking to send it 3 wide to come into the middle of the sector in the back straight. It's going to edge Stefan Lawrence wide. Lawrence off the track, he'll drop 3 spots. Is there going to be a 4th? No, he settles back it in, and Stefan Lawrence loses a ton of time out of that one.
Oh, this is
we'll let Blake Delaney go on through. So Blake Delaney's actually having a flying race. Started P23 in the overall, up to P7 overall, which is actually he's up to P6 overall. Now getting through on Matty Keane. So that pass for Blake Delaney was actually not for position because that's your race leader for the Super 2s. Matty Keane's having a phenomenal race here tonight.
One Fisher Motorsport car doing really well, and the other one's not doing too well at all. It's opposite spectrums of the bar, isn't it, mate? Jeez.
Dave Coleman's just looking for a little bit of clear track at any point. He's just not finding it. Bruce Tannock's managed to get by. No, he hasn't. Oh. Sam Noble is going to do some defensive driving down the inside at turn number 3. Will manage to hang on to the spot for another lap. And Darren Robb has completely checked out as these guys continue to fight. 4 seconds is the race lead now.
Oh my golly gosh.
Husey.
Darren Robb has completely checked out. And we have P2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Possibly having a massive fight or massive battle pack very shortly, and the pack is just growing and growing.
Basically looks like everyone trying to chase down Shane Van Gisbergen in the V8 Supercars Championship at this point in time.
Well, it's a bit like this this morning, actually. The first race, Shane just drove off, and everyone's trying to sort of skedaddle and try and catch up. Now this is where Darren is the SVG and everyone else is basically trying to catch him. And as we see Blake Delaney go for a massive lunge on Bradbury. And did he pull it off? Oh,
no, Bradbury's going to get the drive. Off around the outside, and this will put Blake Delaney on the outside. And Greg Leake has just found the barrier as well.
Into the barrier, you say? Famous YouTuber. Into the barrier? Oh, relatively famous. Once upon a time.
Am I detecting that because you've been in the barrier a few times on that channel, Husey?
We won't go down that road, okay? You'll just.
Husey, I will point you to Shibby's favourite YouTube channel at the moment, Arca Break Weekly. So you might have to go check that out. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Blake Delaney's going to line up Robbie Bradbury one more time. This time he'll get the move done into turn number 1. And I'm waiting for those sponsorship fees, because the amount of times I talk about Arca Break weekly, I should be earning from it at this point in time. Michael Crush defending from Peter Pavlovich in front of him in the Century Motorsports entry. So TMX versus Century Motorsport. Just saw one Century Motorsport driver get driven past, and now the other one's going on the offensive. Pavlovich.
Big lunge. Oh.
I think Pavlovich just broke really early and then recognised he needed to roll out the brakes a little bit, and then nearly missed the corner.
Yeah, I reckon you might be onto something there, mate. He's gone to the defensive now. Oh, he's pinched a brake. That's going to allow Michael to get right up close to him. Oh, he might be alright. He should be right for this corner. It's just poor. He's Michael's making it hard for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Peter.
We've got to keep our eyes back towards the front at the moment, because Bruce Tanek is right there, and indeed right down the inside of Sam Noble. So Sam Noble's tyres might be going. Have a look at those brakes. Absolutely glow from the rear end of Bruce Tanek. He will get P2 away, and it's going to be Alan Dawson who lines him up as well. Dawson will be looking to have a crack here with 6 minutes left in this race. Might be something that he will have enough time. So Noble is struggling in terms of those tyres. I'm curious to see if Tanek can get the drive here and get away, or whether he will be defending down into turn 1. Because if you're in Dawson's spot, Husey, you'd sense an opportunity in the water.
You would, but then the other thing too that I know for the people who are watching, the viewers, that the next race will be top 10 grid, or top 10 will be inverted. So first will essentially become last, or first will become 10th, and 10th will become first for the start of the next race. So will there be a bit of mind games going, well, if I stay in 10th, I could probably come out and start in first and drive away. That's the other end of the coin you have to think about too. As we see,
this is Matty King defending from San Fuentes.
He's teeing up a double overtake here, old David Coleman. Is he going for it?
Oh, going to shove the nose 3 wide. Matty Keen's going to get escorted wide by San Fuentes.
That is cheeky, Dad. That is cheeky. I'm a big fan of that.
Matty Keen, you've got to remember, he's in Super 2 here. Neither of these guys are, and I don't think Matty Keen would actually be aware of that. Oh, David Coleman trying to run around the outside.
I'll tell you what, Thursday night I spent a lot of time out there on the sand. Not by choice either.
Trying to cool those tyres down, were you?
Yeah, cool efficiency, I call that.
Trying to get the drive off of the corner. So Keen's just got to be a little bit patient here. He's got the lead by 4 seconds. Cowie is defending there from Reese to Cowie, and Cowie will come away with that spot.
That was a big moment by Reese. Gee, locked the front left, and then I saw the rear just have an over-rotation moment, but then he's caught it. And
another car up ahead, another huge brake lock, and now it's going to be Reese to go. He's going to get the run here. We'll get to the inside of Andrew Cowan. Really get that one around the outside. Cowie's got the momentum. It's going to be too wide again, and Goey goes from being on the offensive, and Paulie goes, sips blood in the water. It's his time to be a shark on the hunt. But to go, he's going to hang on to it. That's great driving by all 3 of those boys then.
There's a lot of people locking up brakes this race, isn't there, mate? Jeez, everyone's just pinching brakes left, right, and centre here tonight. It's unreal.
Good thing iRacing doesn't model flat spots. Otherwise, we'd have a few 50-cent pieces out there.
Oh, look, you're not wrong, mate. Jeez. And is that Stefan Lawrence defending from Peter? Yes, it is, but I think Pete's just backed off to give himself a bit of breathing space, I think. Serpent there. That's what I was talking about at the start of the program. Scotty, you can just mount that curb like that and go straight over the top of it and have no effect whatsoever over your car. You don't pick up it 1 time, but the minute you put a set of tyres over that curb in the middle of the curb, then you're dancing with the devil at that point.
Yep, car gets a little bit unstable, trying to ride those bumps as best it possibly can. Right, this is your battle pack for P2 through to P4. Whoever comes out on top of this one ends up on the better side of the podium. Not quite the top end of town because, again, Darren Lobb has skipped out to a 5.5-second lead. Right, it is Tanek who's managed to get this position away. We saw that move on Sam Noble, but no one else has been able to get anything done. And Blake Delaney Watch out for him in race number 2. David Coleman, meanwhile, has just picked himself up a drive-through penalty. Down the inside, though, is going to go Delaney. We've seen this once already tonight from him, and now it's going to be Dawson trying to defend around the outside.
He's going around the outside. He is. Oh, Jesus.
He's going to shove the nose into an awkward position. Now he will have the run off the corner, but has he gotten clear? Dawson has.
Yes, he
Delaney
has.
picks up nice and cleanly to keep on to that one. Now, you've heard of a little bit of a fish wiggle. Well, Blake Delaney got to witness that from the opposite end of the spectrum. He comes up, trumps in P4.
Now, I'm thinking, will Alan have a dip here because he is in the draft. I think Sam Noble is just a bit too far ahead of Blake to get some sort of draft for Blake to capitalise on that, but I think Blake might be safe here. Provided Alan doesn't lunge, which he doesn't, he's fine.
I think we're going to get all of our allocated race laps in here too, so I think we are going to go the duration with 11. We cross the start-finish line. Remember, it's based off of the leader, ladies and gentlemen, and Darren Lobb's so far out front, but I believe there was enough time to get 2 more laps in, so they'll get the white flag next time by. So we'll have to keep our eyes out for Barney on the flag stands as we look at things. Stefan Lawrence and Pavlovich still going toe-to-toe. Great recovery drive. Is that Brad Wall back up to P4? That's a phenomenal drive. He's got a whole head of steam up here, Hughesy.
He is, mate. He's doing a real good job tonight, isn't he?
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is for just outside of the top 10. Currently, the driver sitting in P10 is actually Michael Quash. So he will start on pole at this point in time.
Well, it's top 10 reverse for both Super 1 and Super 2, isn't it, tonight?
Yes, so it's the overall standings, not the individual series standings, overall standings. So whoever finishes in 10th out of everyone is going to get promoted. All right, battle you've got on screen at the moment is Dean Sinkovic trying to hold off Andrew Cowan and Paul Gerland. So Sinkovic, he did manage to do it in the TCRs on Wednesday night. Cowie down the inside. That's deep there. Look at the rotors growing from Sinkovic, and Gerland sensed an opportunity. Backed out smartly, but now Cowie's been checked up quite aggressively. Long way back off the rear bumper of Sinkovic, but Sinkovic decides that he does not like those rear tyres at all.
So we're on the last lap now. So Darren Lobb has passed the start finish on to proceed on to lap 11 of 11. So like you said before, Scotty will go the full race distance of 11 laps.
Something to keep in mind at the moment is Matty Keane just dropped 1.5 seconds to Michael Quash, and Quash is 0.8 seconds behind. So Keane really wants to get down the inside of San Fuentes here. This is not for position for these guys. This is only for overall position. But Keane is getting held up here, and have a look at that interval between the two drivers, and Keane's going to make contact. That interval continues to close though. Quash is coming, and Keane wants to get down the inside. Final lap of race number 1, feature race coming your way on the other side of this one with reverse top 10. We're just talking about that. That's a beautiful move from Matty Keane if he can get it done, but he's going to be on the dirty side, on the outside, down into the hairpin. Will hang it out there, and I think he's going to get squeezed. He's still got the nose in there, draws up alongside, and San Fuente is going to wiggle on. Now, Matty Quash is involved in this one. San Fuentes has gone wide. That's opened the door now. It's going to be on between Keane and Quash. Who's managed to pull away? Noble's not quite close enough to get a move done on Bruce Tanek, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3 for Lob, Tanek, Noble, and Super 1. But the battle you were seeing on screen, that's critical for Super 2. That's Darren Lob making his way. 3 more quarters left to run for him, and it's been a return of serve for him. Returns to the country, returns to form, returns to his winning ways for Darren Lobb. Right, so back further into the pack now this is a battle for the top 10 for the guys.
Came real quick, so that's nearly 3-4 tenths he's caught up now. He's right.
He's coming through the chicane. Yeah, down the inside. Paulie Gerland trying to defend it. Andrew Cowan picks up all of the marbles.
Oh, Cowie's just got a free bloody go then. Christ. Go Cowie. Talk about being in the right spot at the right time.
And David Coleman served his drive-through penalty on the last lap of the race, which means he will serve a post-race penalty and will drop outside of the top 10. And that was your results overall. So Matty Keane will hang on to it by the skin of his teeth on the final lap of...
That was a close finish.
that one. And Blake Delaney, what a drive from P23 on the grid up to P4 overall. Had to drive through the entire pack. Got helped with all that chaos that unfolded on lap 1. And then a safety car to condense the field once again.
Made it all the more worthwhile, mate. That was a good result and good ending, wasn't it?
Well, he hung onto his tyres quite well, did Blake Delaney.
Well, I didn't think you'd have to save tyres as such for the sprint race, but you know, for the enduro and the next one, which is 40 minutes, that's going to be about tyre saving for sure. You know, you can obviously change tyres in the pits here, and it's relatively quick in a supercar, but you know, you want to have pace the whole stint through, and Blake Delaney answers it.
Right, so that was actually your podium on screen from the short race there tonight, and what chaos it was. That is your overall. Drivers in yellow are your Super 1 drivers. Drivers in red, Super 2. Matty Keane, what a win for him in Super 2. He will be proud of that one, and I know he'll be watching this broadcast back tomorrow. Great drive there from Matty Keane. Darren Lobb, Bruce Tenek, Sam Noble are going to be your top 3. Blake Delaney, what a drive from P23 up to P4. Alan Dawson, Robbie Bradbury got escorted a few spots back. They finished 10 seconds off the lead. 10 seconds further back it was to Matty Keane and Michael Quash. Stephen Lawrence was in there. He was just hanging around in a whole bunch of Super 2 drivers. He's picked up a whole bunch of spots. And David Coleman, P18. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot serve a drive-through penalty on the last lap of the race. It will not count. If you're going to serve it on the last lap of the race, you are far better off just driving it through the lap as you normally would, because you're going to cop that 40-second penalty added to your time anyway, which is what's happened to Coleman.
What did he pick up the penalty for, just out of curiosity? Because I didn't
Incident issued by race control.
Did it say which incident? What lap?
Did not, no, so...
Just trying to think where he picked it up from, but I don't recall him...
Well, I don't think it was something that happened on screen. I think it happened off screen. Because we were following that battle for a fair while, and then all of a sudden Coleman was just out in his own. So I would say that it's happened when we faded away to have a look at the start of the race. Right. Race number 1 in the books. Drivers get a 10-minute cool down here, or warm up for some of them, as they will settle themselves in. Let's look at your grid for round number 2, but we're actually going to go ahead and talk about last week's race, and that came to us from Interlagos. And what a track Interlagos is, Hughesy. It's always a banger, always creates interesting racing, and this is Sebastian Tixier's Melville Equipment Corporation fastest lap for round number 3. Run through turn number 1. The onboard shots. This will be gorgeous to watch for Tixier.
Yeah, he'll be loving this. He was quick last weekend, but I think he had a few issues last weekend where he was in the lead. Then Jamie Dyke started pressuring him a bit. Then I think he made a bit of an error, I think, shortly after Jamie Dyke had passed him, but Sebastian was lightning quick regardless. So, like, I think Jamie was struggling for a little bit to make a move, let alone keep up for a few laps here and there. So, Sebastian is driving tonight, isn't he?
Tixier, no. Tixier is not here, unfortunately, this evening.
Ah, right, okay. That's a shame. It was another quick drive between him and Darren and the Fishy Boys. He was another quick one. I really enjoyed the battle between himself and Jamie. It was really good.
Big shout out to all of our sponsors as well. The DSL Welding Services sponsor. They're our primary sponsor, the V8 Supercars. What you're seeing on screen at this point in time, the Melville Equipment Corporation. Fastest lap from the last round. Look at all of that AstroTurf you utilised at Interlagos. That's what it's about. For getting the run out of the final corner, and then it's just a flat out grind to the flag all the way uphill, and that'll be it for Tixier. It was a great drive from him there last week. It's been a great drive from him so far this season. Actually from Asia is Tixier, so not actually an Australian driver. He's actually participating from another continent.
Right. All right.
So for your benefit, Hughesy, all of that information that just got relayed to you by a producer in the background, ladies and gentlemen, we have a voice in our head. It's not my conscience, because I know I don't have one.
We did that.
So it is Shuby actually feeding us information whilst we talk, because we're apparently talented enough to listen to people talking and talk back at the same time. Stop complaining, Shibby. You don't work hard enough. You don't do anything. Big shout out to everyone as the part of Sim Racing World and keeping us honest. Had race control this season is Stefan McCartan, your teammate. And he's doing. Is he relishing that position? Not an easy position by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he's picked it up quite with a lot of gusto.
Yeah, he's doing really well. I know himself and I were doing race control last Thursday for the Radicals. We had some tough Radicals. Yeah, for the Radicals, and we had a few tough decisions because most of the incidences last week.
No, you didn't. You didn't even hesitate to issue me a penalty. There was no hesitation.
Well, I paid him on the download. I said, look, make sure you just dish out a few for Slee Rank, and that has to happen. But most of the instances last week, as you were there, most of them were all done by netcode, and that's the hard one. Like, there's a difference between going, oh, hey, bang, here's a straight out penalty for making an error, which Stefan's all over. He's not stupid, like he's all over it. But when it's netcode, you've got to say, well, it's netcode, we can't do anything about it. And much to the driver's disgust, they hate it. But then when they go look at the replay, they go, oh, it was netcode.
So for those of you out there who aren't familiar, obviously racing in real life, there is if the cars make contact, they rub, they make contact. On iRacing, that's not the case. It's a little bit of we've got to come up with a solution, and it comes close, netcode, most of the time.
Very frustrating though. When you get netcode, when you do the netcoding, it's alright, but when you get netcoded, it's rather frustrating.
So for those of you who aren't really aware and have never played a video game in your life, well, it takes time for the internet connection to go from your computer where it's situated across the world to other people. When we're running here with other drivers within Australia, Asia, New Zealand, it's generally the connections are pretty fast. Geographical distance does play a part into it, but when the geographical distance is minor, that means there's not much of an impact. But netcode is effectively a predictive contact system. So what it'll do, it'll take a look at the difference in connections between the two drivers. Constantly, iRacing is estimating about where those cars are on track and where they should be. If those drivers choose to alter their path aggressively compared to the racing surface, and a few factors will play into that, including banking, speed, degree of steering input, that will be more likely to trigger netcode. Now, there's a lot of drivers out there who will play multiple games, simulators, arcade races, the works. And they will say, oh yeah, netcodes, all of it's disgusting, all of it's not enjoyable. It's never a fun moment. But when you look at the potentials of cars being completely and utterly nowhere near each other, and then all of a sudden you just hit, you can generally see netcode. It's fairly easy to predict. It's fairly easy to predict when it'll be a bigger factor and when you need to drive around it a little bit more, and the drivers can adapt to it. And this is something iRacing hate the term, absolutely detest the term netcode. But to be perfectly honest, you got to deal with it some way, and they've done it. They do a reasonable job, Husey. It's one of the things of racing online. There's just that different element, but on the other side, we get fast repairs. We get to race at tracks that V8 Supercars would never be racing on Circuit De Barcelona Catalunya.
Yeah, that's right. And you big fan of your work, like to spin out and hit the wall and collect other people, and you like those fast repairs because I've witnessed it myself. So can confirm for everyone watching that Scotty Rankin doesn't in fact like going into the barrier.
No, not a big fan of barriers, no.
I was just reading the comments in the stream, and apparently Mr. Matty Kane is struggling with this race after doing the 24-hour Le Mans, apparently, which I don't blame him. But I've got to give him a big shout out via my teammate Greg Barber. Apparently Matty Kane did a fantastic job in the 24 hours with a massive amount of fuel saving during the race, apparently. So massive shout out to Matt Kane for that.
Not enough clutch in. But it's just, it's netcode. It's part and parcel. For you guys that are participating in V8 Supercars and you're participating within an Australian server, it's not all that bad. IndyCar drivers that are racing at 360 plus kilometers an hour, on American servers, that's where it's a nightmare. So.
Oh dear Lord, Nathan Allen, cheeky. That is a cheeky comment. I can't. I don't think I'll be able to.
You can touch on that. That's okay. That's okay.
Okay. I can.
Go on.
All right. Adam wasn't happy with Scott's only feet content this week.
Now, confirm or deny. Were you happy or not happy with my only feet content this week?
I don't kiss and tell.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the broadcast that you're witnessing here this season, so far tonight, so far everything, don't forget to smash that like, follow, subscribe. Let us know in the chat if you're enjoying things. Comment along. Who's your favorite driver? Do you think that some of the Super 2 drivers have a shot at an overall victory here in the feature race? It was a phenomenal drive from Matty Keane. I know he is now listening, and I hope that he's enjoying things. Matty, I'll be doing my best for you on Tuesday because he's actually been supporting me in the IndyCar, so it's been awesome to have him along for the ride and learning new skill sets. Right. Warm-up is now done. The expression session for the drivers is done, and we're on to our feature race, Husey, and that long run to turn number 1. Is it going to trigger another safety car, you feel?
I reckon it will, mate. Top 10 inverted. I reckon that's going to cause some mayhem. We're going to see all the fast guys coming through very quickly. Blake Delaney was on a charge. And obviously Darren Lobb is not far behind Blake, as well as Bruce Tannick and Sam Noble. They're both quick in their own right. So I reckon we'll see a very interesting first 2, 3, 4 laps, as well as corners.
Right, Petar Pavlovich. Going to start from the pole position. You can see that Century Motorsports entry on the right-hand side of your screen. Riot Sim Racing entry of Stefan Lawrence. Only got back to P number 9. That's okay. He'll start up on the front row. Michael Quash and Matty Keane. We saw those guys go door-to-door in the tail end of things. Robbie Bradbury and Alan Dawson, they had a phenomenal battle towards the tail end of things. Blake Delaney drove from P23 to P4, now gets to start from P7, ahead of the guys he was hunting down the closing stages of things. Sam Noble started off of the outside of row number 1. Lights are actually out. We're about to get underway with race number 2. And there is the launch. There's a few cars that did not get a great launch at all, and Petar Pavlovich was one of them. Delaney out in the weeds looking for space. He's had to get out of the way. Bruce Tannick has got away to a flyer. He's up a whole bunch of spots, but Delaney's gone backwards, and Stefan Lawrence will set sail on this field through turn number 1.
There's a lot of movement under brakes in the turn 1, wasn't there, mate? Everyone was starting in and out.
Looking for space, looking for that open window. Who's been able to make advantage of it so far? It's going to be Pavlovich that leads away your Super 2 field. Matty Keane is in second place at this point in time. Keep your eyes on Lobb in the center there. Somebody coming down the inside. Blake Delaney has got through there on 2 cars, 3 wide at turn number 4. Repsol corner out of the way on lap number 1. This is where it all really started to come unstuck for a lot of guys in race number 1. They'll get through, and Brad Wall's going to slot up in front of Michael Quash. So Quash going backwards in the opening stanza. This one's cast sideways in the chicane.
Who was that?
Get through there. I think that was Pavlovich. So Pavlovich starting to come back through to the Super 2 field. They're all checking up. They're all looking for the space. Matty Keane's just ahead of Gerard Sanfuentes, who will ride on board now. Blake Delaney's going to go to grab a spot. He'll shift to the inside. He's going to try and send it down the inside. We've seen this move a few times. Now it's on Darren Lobb. Is he going to come away with that one? And Sanfuentes gets nuts in the rear end.
Oh, that was a really good opening lap up until that happened. Oh, shit, that was really good.
And great driving by both drivers that are involved in that one. They've got away, and no one else was collected in that. Look, if it's going to happen, you want it to be the 2 cars that got together.
Oh, there's another spin. There's a spin at the back there out of the
It's Greg Johnson. Greg Johnson's sideways. Greg Leake had a move made on him. Now it's going to be down the inside, and I think it is going to be the 74. Paulie Gerlin was looking for a spot there as well. Andrew Cowan. And Paulie Gerlin will resume service as normal.
It's a massive shout out to Petar Pavlovich. That was an amazing save before on the lap.
Tannick's missed the apex at turn 1. He's nearly missed the entire turn 1 complex. It's going to be Lawrence that hangs on to it for another few corners. And he's got Alan Dawson now. No, sorry. Yeah, it is Stefan Lawrence who's hanging on to things from Alan Dawson at this point in time.
Driving away. God. He's just absolutely checking away from these 2.
And Tannick is sitting there in behind these guys. That was actually Petar Pavlovich who was actually up underneath Stefan Lawrence's rear wing.
Here comes Darren Lobb. He's not mucking around. We saw Bruce have a decent lock-up, then he carried the brake through most of the corner up until the apex too, so I'm tipping that would have hurt his front left tyre a little bit as well.
So 40 minutes, and you've already seen 2.5, 3 minutes now as the clock ticks over of an absolute amazing opening stanza to this race. Now Tanak is getting assaulted by Lobb, and Bradley Wall is facing backwards. He was on the ascendancy. He was driving out of his skin so far tonight, and it's all come unstuck. 2 from 2 races.
I honestly thought then that Darren Lobb was going to stick his nose up at the front then on that fast right-hander. Or was that a spin? Oh no, geez, sorry mate, I thought I saw a spin then. Just saw someone have a bit of a over-rotation then.
Bruce Tanak has just been awarded a drive-through penalty.
Oh.
And Bruce Tanak has run wide at the chicane as well. He is not having a second race to remember.
Yeah, no, he's serving the penalty now. Do it now, just in case safety car comes out. You know, you haven't lost much ground. You'll catch up to the back of the train, which is not too bad.
Do you want to go another couple laps though before you serve the penalty, such that the field spreads out a fair bit more?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but if you do that, and what happens if a safety car comes out while you're not served your penalty? Then you have to go serve it after everyone's bunched up. Then you've lost essentially a free pass to get back onto the back of the train without having to lose any major time. So I think I'd rather serve the penalty than over like not serving it. Oh, who's that in the wall? Was that
John Day?
Oh.
That was Steven Sinkovich apparently. So apologies to John Day. You keep driving a great race there, John.
David Coleman, yep, pulling that off. That was a good move. So he's just behind his teammate, which is Blake Delaney now. So I'm tipping these two guys aren't dumb. They'll be rather smart about it and work together. Unless one car has a complete utter total advantage over the other and set up or pace, and of course I'll do the old switcheroo. But
Michael Quash has received a black flag now, and I think that may be for the incident with car 22.
Was that at this corner?
No, it was for San Fuentes, and now Reece Goey has been hit by Paul Gerland, stays on the accelerator to flick spin the car around, but he'll be forced to beach himself there.
Wow, jeez, Reece, what are you doing? You should have held the brakes, mate. Oh, no situational awareness tonight. No situational awareness. Everyone's lost the plot. Unbelievable.
Malpal just finds himself in the wrong space at the wrong time and loses a whole host of track position at this point in time. So this will tell a little bit of the story. So to Goey's Racing, who's that up ahead? Is that Daniel Fritz? I think it might be.
Yes, and this is Paul Gerland who collected him. So what's he done? I reckon he's off to break. Is he gone too deep? Yep, gone too deep. He's trying to avoid him, but oh no, he's trying to make a pass. Right. I see.
So the Goey just broke really early compared to everyone else in that situation.
I think so, yeah. Well, I did say the old safety car would come in. Oh, geez, I don't know why he accelerated there. He should have reversed or just held the brakes. I think that's going to result with him in a penalty now, I believe.
So he will be, more than likely, Gerland might get a penalty here for the contact. But you've got to hold the brakes. So what we mean by this is it's so much easier to dodge a car that's sitting still than it is to try and dodge a car that's trying to spin itself back into the racing line. That's exactly what's happened with De Goey. He's done phenomenal parking the car up, but then he just grabs the throttle.
I reckon he would have made that call because he come in with, he washed the speed off. He didn't lock a brake. I just don't think, was it Reece didn't really sort of expect him to just do that. Like he made the move. It was going to happen. Just, yeah, Reece wasn't expecting him to be there, which is, rightly so. Because we're in Spain and Paul's just come through from Italy and just gone, I'm going to give you a big send. Cop this.
Crosses half the Mediterranean and then all of a sudden just rejoins.
That's how long that lunge was. That's how deep that lunge was, mate. It was miles and kilometres back.
And this has all come from the chaos that Gerard Sanfuentes got involved in on lap 1 of this race, but also the tail end of last week. Because remember, he's inside the 10. He would have started on the front row. And he spun it on the final lap. That's the difference.
Oh, what's going on there? What's Paul doing? Going off-road, mate. Go, stay in the black stuff. That's the fast stuff.
He's not looking down at a pit stop and trying to plan that out, is he?
Oh, could be on Tinder swiping. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh, Stefan Lawrence is in the barrier!
Oh, was that self-inflicted or was that involved with
Oh, I have a feeling Alan Dawson might be involved in this.
Oh, maybe not. What's happened here?
Oh!
Right. Oh, that's a big hit too. Oh. I reckon that rear wing is...
He's got a slight kink in the rear wing, but he's actually gotten away with it.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Like, it's not massive damage. And that's Darren Lobb going for a move on Alan. Yes, it is.
So this is for your race lead, and Darren Lobb from P10 on the grid, back to P number 1, and he will check out. Check-in time is after 2 p.m, but check-out time is, well, any time before 10, and he's got enough to check out of that hotel.
That flight has definitely gone. So that's not coming back. That's not going to be a return trip. I'm actually surprised the Fishy boys, that being Blake and David Coleman, haven't actually sifted through these other cars that quickly. Like, I'm actually surprised. I know Blake and David are very quick in these supercars, but I'm surprised they haven't sifted through like they usually do. Like David
well,
had pace last week with Jamie, and maybe the track and car combo doesn't really suit him, maybe.
Well, the block from Sam Noble, because Delaney was trying to pick which lane to go for. It was a late decision. Noble just parked the car in such an awkward spot. Now it's going to be Delaney right underneath that rear wing on the run through turn number 3 on the run to Repsol corner, up underneath the bridge right up here. Delaney's just a little bit too far back.
I thought Sam Noble was going to run wide then, and Blake was just going to sneak straight under him, but no, Sam pulled up in time.
I feel like Delaney's getting checked up here. I feel like he's got more pace than this, and I feel like he wants to show it.
Yeah, he's definitely got more pace. Just Sam's just placing the car where he wants to place it, and he's just pulling up Blake a little bit too much.
Eventually, you've just got to send it, but now he's way too far back with that little mistake. Getting off the curbing, not all that well settled. David Coleman might just be sitting here and doing a little bit of fuel saving, trying to go long. And this is Michael Locke versus Mal Powell versus the 869, I believe is Quash. Yes, that is Michael Quash, who's now served his drive-through penalty and is on the drive back through. He will want to clear these guys as quickly as he possibly can. There's a Sentry car involved there as well. Oh, no, it's not. It actually looks like a Sentry car because it's missing its bonnet.
Yeah, well, that's an efficient way to cool your engine, isn't it?
Oh, Mal Powell. Summer's a few months away yet, mate. No need to get beached this early.
He's avoided the wall, though. He's done well. God, Stevens' car's looking very average, isn't it?
Here we go. This is a battle pack, and now it's going to be the Fishy boys. Who's going to try and slot through here? 6 out of the draft, nice and early. Stefan Lawrence parks that car awkwardly, but down the inside is Sam Noble. Where's Delaney going to shove that nose? Is he far enough up? Coleman's lurking in the waters as well, and here come the mighty Piranhas. But it's going to be Sam Noble that gets the job done, and he's up a spot, and then now here comes Lawrence. Lawrence had to cover him off. Still, right there, Stefan Lawrence may have another crack. Remember, Noble's gone quite deep into this corner a few times, and you saw the car step out on Stefan there as well. Brakes locked up, but it's going to be Lawrence that locks it up. Now Delaney's down the inside. Rear tyres screaming for a break now from Stefan Lawrence. And he will manage to hang on to this one so far. Noble now runs wide at the next corner as well, and Stefan Lawrence has still got it down the inside. Delaney's still hanging there, and Coleman will be wanting to get on with this as well. He'll be egging his teammate on.
Big.
And finally, the Fishy drivers get through. Remember, Lawrence heated those tyres up very quickly. He might be the first driver to pit here.
Can we look at Stefan Lawrence's on board? Because that was a massive wiggle coming out of the corner then. That was huge.
Expression session was done 15 minutes ago, Stefan.
Now, Yep, we're on board here. Now watch the wheel work coming out of the apex. Like, as soon as he hits the apex, it's just seesawing. He's cutting wood, something chronic. So it's right about here. He just has his moment. Oh. Oh. So Blake gets ahead of that lap. Jesus Christ. So that allowed the Piranha Boys, so I'm going to call them Piranha Boys because they love it. They were able to sneak through. So that worked out quite well for them both.
Well, Alan Dawson's managed to hang on to
Yeah.
Darren Lobb. This I was not
Wow.
expecting from Dorso.
Has Rise Allen just picked up a lot of pace, or has Darren had a massive moment somewhere? Oh, it could be fuel saving.
Trying to go long here, potentially from Mr. Darren Lobb, but they're staying together. Remember that battle that Sam Noble has finally got through on Stefan Lawrence is, again, 5 seconds back up the road. Check out every car up and down the field now starting to wiggle around on those rear tyres, and this is Greg Leake with you out the front end of him, and that's Brett Taylor. Got a drive-through penalty in race number 1. Has been a reasonable response.
Everywhere we go, guys, we've always got battles somewhere, somehow, in some way, shape or form. It's bloody awesome, isn't it?
And now Delaney's going to have himself a great run here off the middle of the circuit.
Oh,
looking to cover towards the inside. Sold in the dummy. Delaney's got this move done quite a few times down the inside here. Picks up the throttle. Was deep for Noble. And has that allowed Coleman to sneak through the fishy double? The Piranhas, they line up for feeding time at the zoo.
I reckon that was well orchestrated. He's trying to get David to sneak through as well, try and push him out wide, but just didn't have enough road, enough speed to get past him properly.
I agree. He didn't have enough road. If he was a bit more rude about it, would have got it done.
Oh, yeah, it could be a little bit more rude, a little bit more aggressive, and he would have got it done. But you don't want to serve up a big dish of FU into the next corner and spit them off into the wall. So you probably shouldn't do that as much as you'd like to. But apparently we've got to be nice and respectful when we race. It's in the right square ranking.
Do we?
Apparently.
Oh, that's you. I'll add that to the driver's notes for any racing done this week. That one wasn't in the book.
Oh, sorry, officer. Didn't recall it being in the rule book. Sorry.
Remember, we are here for entertainment purposes. Do not take anything we do or say seriously at any stage. And indeed, we hope you are enjoying yourselves along out there. Down the inside now, the 35 of Robbie Bradbury, and that's on Matty Keane. So again, this one isn't actually for position within class, but it is actually for racing fun. Matty Keane's having a blinder in both races.
That's a really nice looking livery, isn't it? I love that shiny metallic sort of. It's not gloss, it would be metallic. I wouldn't say pearl. Yeah, probably metallic. Would be pearlescent. It's just a nice looking livery like that.
I don't know, it matches the name of the company as well, because whiskey, it's a whiskey colour.
Yeah, I just like it. It's really nice. I like the name though, Whiskey Runners Racing. That's awesome. I like that name.
The only thing that pops to head is the narrator's voice coming from the movie with the jumping car, the 01.
Yeah, go on. You've got us on over a seat, Scotty. Go on.
Jumps over a gorge to get away from the police, doing moonshine running, old American. Dukes of Hazzard, my wife has just chimed in the background.
Oh, Dukes of Hazzard. Oh, I'm with you. Right, the old orange.
Runners. Yep.
Yes. Orange Charger, I think it was. Orange Charger? Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, enough with the old references. Right. Back up in front. Darren Lobb trying to run away from him.
Gerlin in the pits, or has he had a moment? Because he's jumped a bunch of places.
He has had a drive-through penalty, so that is Paul Gerlin serving that one. So that is Race Control's decision on Reese DeGoey versus Paul Gerlin. That one...
Angle before. Right.
He's done the right thing. I mean, he served the penalty. He'll go back, he'll have a look at it later, and he'll go, I'm not... How do you deal with that? Juicy. How when you think you've been aggrieved by race control, what is the best way to deal with that?
You got to try your best to let it go, because I know it's hard. It is absolutely hard. I know it's only a sim, of course, but you want to win. It's hard, but then you only see a certain view of the car, and you think, oh, hold on, I'm not at fault. It's the other guy that's at fault. But when you actually look at the replay and you see it from a different angle, you go, oh, right, I can see why they've dished out the penalty. So the best cause or best protocol, just try and just put it behind you and drive, because you just don't know what's going to happen in the race, particularly in a 40-minute race. Anything could happen.
No, I can tell you Brad Wall has served his first stop of the race on lap 4. I get the feeling that was actually a drive-through penalty. Brad, no, I don't think Brad.
How long was the pit lane then? Was it a...
It was only 30 seconds from end to end, but I have a feeling he may have had damage he was trying to get repaired.
Oh, okay, right. He's probably used a fast repair, quite possibly.
Tell you what, Mr. Shibby, you don't happen to have a track map handy for us, do you? Because I want to illustrate a point here. Quite a big track here at Circuit De Barcelona Catalunya. It is 4.65 kilometres in length. So it's Darren Lobb just heading around turn 3 in the top left-hand corner of that map. And Alan Dawson immediately behind him, just passing the first sector time. That's the red dots on the track map. Down into turn number 4, the right-hander. That is where they are at this point in time. Have a look at where the lap traffic is. They're going through the hairpins. So lap traffic, at 20 minutes into this race, we still haven't encountered any as of yet. But will be a factor towards the tail end of this one.
I think my only grievance with this track being Spain was at the back hairpin where we saw Reese de Goey and was it Daniel Fritz that had them, no, Paul Girl, and they had their crash. Bit annoyed, because I thought we would have used the F1 layout, how it sort of circulates around more to the sweeper instead of using that tight hairpin.
Well, that is the F1 layout we're using here. That's the historic layout you're thinking of.
Well, that's what the F1's use now. They use that long sweeper coming up where we're looking at David Coleman now. They go straight on, so they don't break here, they go straight on and go around the MotoGP layout. So they go through that extra bit of road there now. They've been doing it for a year or two now. I think I prefer that layout over the tight hairpin we have here.
Meanwhile, we just calmly watch Sam Noble getting the job done once more on David Coleman. They will rub, they will bang doors, and they will both manage to hang on to it. And now it's for a wild ride as they run down towards the chicane. Neither of these guys wants to yield. We did see a move here in the TCRs, pulled successfully off by Dylan De Bono, and David Coleman steals it back through the chicane. But if you keep a look out the rear view camera, they are going to be starting to drift slowly backwards, and Robbie Bradbury is going to be the first of your drivers who will take himself to the pit lane right on the 20-minute mark. So he's hit halfway and gone, yep, time for a pit stop. Dawson and Lobb still managed to track on with each other as well. This is the battle from the front end of town. Lobb did break this margin open to just over a second for about half a lap, and Dawson caught him back up very, very quickly. So those guys trading times, trying to stay with each other. You're getting a little bit of support there out there in the chat, Husey.
On YouTube or on the Facebook?
On YouTube, actually. The YouTube chat seems to agree with you. I'm a fan of Facebook chat. Facebook chat, support me here. Quick, back me up. But Andrew Proctor, historic layout is the best layout with that wider hairpin. So you are getting some support out there.
Oh, mate. Love it.
That's the first time in your life you've gotten any sort of support.
Whoa, geez, all this hostility towards me. God.
It's not hostility, mate, when it's truth. Down the inside, I'm just watching the move on screen at this point in time.
Nice by Michael Locke. Was that a move or was that him defending? I think we just saw the taps of it.
In there as well. My word, there are battles basically everywhere on track. So there's a group of 4 cars stuck together here at this point in time. Gerard Sanfuentes has just gotten ahead of Greg Leake. Leakey's going to come back at him down the inside, and big hello to Greg Leakey, who participated in his first ever endurance race last night.
How'd he go? How did old Leakey go last night?
He did quite well. He came away with a P4. Was not expecting.
Was that the 3 hour of Nürburgring? Was that the one I'm thinking of?
Yep.
Oh, right.
3 hours Nürburgring GP.
Oh, beautiful. What car?
Mercedes AMG GT3.
Ah, beautiful.
Lovely growl, that thing. Lovely, lovely growl.
Yeah,
He had a banging old time, Leaky.
It's a good old beast, isn't it, the old Merc? The new updated Merc. It's quite a nice car.
Leaky now is actually going to get assaulted down the inside by Paulie Gerlin, who's going to send one.
Oh.
Well, you saw a move sent down the inside from Italy before. How about one from China now?
Yeah, that was a big send. That was from a distance. That was that was phenomenal. I keep getting. I look at the DSL Welding Services car. That car I'm looking at now. I get like, I get Lowndes' last race at Townsville. Newcastle a few years ago with the better electrical black and gold livery they gave him. I get that vibe from it. That's the vibe I get from it, and I don't hate it. I quite like that livery.
that's a great way of. I don't hate it. Yeah. Husey, when he talks about things passionately, enjoys them. I don't hate it.
Oh wow, you're still out. The jury's still out on you though, mate. So you're still questionable.
Brad Wall continues his resurgence so far tonight after what has been. Yeah, look, we'll move on as quickly as possible if we possibly can. Indeed, Brad Wall will grab P10 because I believe that is Steven Sinkovic missing that front bonnet down the inside. There, Steven Sinkovic locks him up on the inside, and it's out the other side.
I actually thought he was going to collect Brad Wall then. That was super close.
Wouldn't be the first time SRW teammates have collected each other. Won't be the last time either.
Particularly brothers, they tend to like to hit each other tip to tip, front bumper to front bumper. There seems to be a common theme there.
Oh no, we're done. We're off the air. We're getting cancelled, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Noble has now completed his pit stop. He's back to P7.
But, get your head out of the gutter there, Scotty. Sick man. Sick man.
I can't watch.
And as poor old Scotty's having a moment, everyone, we do see a few cars entering the pits. So Blake Delaney has just set the fastest. Oh no, sorry, that was not. Sorry, David Blake. Sorry, I saw Blake and I thought, oh yeah, Blake Delaney, but no, got that wrong. David Blake has set the fastest lap, I think, in class, or was that overall? I think that may be overall. It showed up purple on his screen on the timing then, so I believe that was overall.
So it'll be fresh set of tyres, and he's trying to bang on with a fresh bit of rubber.
Beautiful.
Holy God.
Position? Was that for position?
No, that's Daniel Fritz, I think it is. No, it is, because it's Brett Taylor. Sorry, it is. It was for a position.
That was an excellent move.
So Brett Taylor is actually on an out lap at this point in time, and Paulie Gerlin pit a couple of laps ago, so he is making some moves on fresher rubber, but whilst that rubber's still coming up to temperature for Brett Taylor, he will indeed be on the defensive. David Coleman is still out and punching on with things. Blake Delaney's finally come through pit lane. Darren Lobb is in pit lane at this point in time. Dawson is still out as well. Yeah, so it looks like David Coleman's going to go another lap. Everyone else has cycled to the pit lane.
Bush coming as well.
Yep, the locked on lads entry now through pit lane. So pit stop cycle has begun. Who is going to be the one that makes the most of this? Robbie Bradbury was one of the first drivers to pit, and he has kicked on with that one as quickly as he possibly can.
But that being said, so it'd be safe to assume that with everyone pitting now, that's only going to be a one-stop race, and no one's really fuel saving. Would that be the best way to read it? I reckon. Yeah,
I would say so. I don't think there's going to be any point in not pushing on. What's happened at Dawson? Because Dawson pit was right on Lob, and have a look at Blake Delaney, because Blake Delaney he's made a meal of these pit stop cycles. He's slotted right in between those two.
He has, hasn't he?
So this is effectively P2 for Blake Delaney now. On corrected fuel strategy. Be interesting to see where Coleman comes out, because Coleman wasn't too far back behind. It's Noble that's dropped a ton of time in the pit stop.
What's he done? Is he taking on extra fuel, maybe? Darren Lobb, what's he done? Yeah, maybe
we're going to have a look.
If I'm just getting Chewy to bring up the pit times for us to see what the go is, so...
Delaney.
Was that someone's spin? We did, yeah. I know who that.
Dawson had a 2.5 second longer pit stop than Darren Lobb, but have a look at Blake Delaney, 13.1 second. Now, Robbie Bradbury did a 13.5 stopped in the pit stall time, so Bradbury was just as quick as well. So I would say that Delaney may have been fuel saving. Oh, he's done a lot of fuel saving. That's a lot of fuel saving. Or he knows the exact amount that he needs.
Oh, he's just picked up purely over 1.5 seconds, probably 1.6 seconds in the pit lane over towards Darren Lobb. So that's
plus another 2.5. So over Dawson, remember, because Dawson was 17. So Dawson's got a really slow stop.
So has he maybe jumped the marker and had a reverse or pull up or something? Maybe that's probably the only thing I could think of, unless he's had a moment in pit lane or on the entry, maybe, quite possibly.
I have no idea.
Paul Gerlin is making his way, isn't he? Because he's got Reese, who we had contact with before a few laps ago. So maybe when they get a bit closer to each other, they might give each other a bit more room. As you see, Reese going a bit defensive in the chicane, because I believe that was Daniel Fritz eyeing him up for a move into the chicane. Was it?
So huge battle pack continues to form in here, and a lot of these guys have had pace all so far tonight.
Who's going to Reese has got defensive.
Out of the draft, we're going to go 3 wide down into turn number 1. No, Sanfuentes is going to get deep down the inside to go. He loses 3 spots on the run through turn 1 and gets hung out to dry.
Surprised Reese didn't bloody put the block on then. That's quite surprising.
I don't think he had much of a choice. Because the car from Sanfuentes was down there quite early. Anyway, it's going to be an opportunity now for Quash to see if he can have a go now at the rear bumper of Paul Gerlin. Let's talk about Daniel Fritz, because that is a quietly achieving race. Daniel Fritz doesn't appear on screen very much unless he's backwards. But he is just sort of sat underneath the radar in the Whiskey Runner's car.
Oh, he's been quietly making up the positions. Like, kudos to him. He's been flying under the radar, so it's been quite well actually for him. I'm pretty sure he did race last weekend at Brazil, and I don't think he had a very good race. I think he got caught up in a few incidences, and he just don't think he had the overall pace for that track. But tonight he's doing really well actually, which is nice to see.
I will say in Fritz's defence, he has not had a fun season so far. Effectively the race that Brad Waller's had, where he's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time nearly every opportunity. That has been Daniel Fritz. As Michael Quash fires it down the inside of Paul Gerling, gets it done in an awkward spot. That was a great move from Quash.
Oh, I really like this camera view actually, looking at the back of the car. It's quite a good camera view. Shibby, I quite like it.
Up on the parcel tray, mate.
Yeah. Oh, love it, mate. Big fan. Big fan.
If Shibby was in real life out on a race circuit, he'd be the guy flying the drone around. That'd be the only way he'd get him to a circuit, I think. Strap into the parcel tray, he says. He's out with the camera in his hands at this point in time. No wonder these guys were going so slow in a straight line whenever they had the camera on board. They've had an extra shibby added to their rear bumper.
Sticker on the back of the bumper, you have been shibbied.
Smile, boys, you're on camera.
Shibby's.
Oh. What's the cost to get that put on somebody's car? Because I will gladly pay that.
Yeah, I reckon I could run that sticker. I reckon Blake, looking at that, I reckon Blake's slowly chipping away at the lead. He's got 8 to 9 minutes to do something about it. But that's a lap car getting out of the way, right? Yep. Blake's done alright. He's back up. Or he started P7 or P8, I believe it was. So he's net P2, which is good. Teammate David Coleman's not far behind. I'm thinking maybe Blake's either going to decide shortly whether he's going to try and chase down Darren or maybe help his teammate David try and get past Alan, I reckon. Maybe just might hold up Alan. Maybe just make his life a little bit harder and let David sort of just creep up to the back of him. But I just think Darren Lobb's way too far ahead of him, unless Darren has a massive error somewhere. Oh, I hope no one gets any commentators cursed, but you know, you try and help your teammate out as best you can. Oh, and as I say that, Alan has a massive moment coming out of the mini hairpin rather, sorry. Or half hairpin, I guess. Yeah, as I say, I think we've lost Scotty. His comms has gone down, I think.
Look, no, I'm doing it for everyone at home's benefit. Yeah, I'm saving everyone at home ears from my more terrible jokes for the last 10 minutes of the stream.
I think poor Scotty's still getting over the tips joke.
I'd forgotten about that. No.
Jeez.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is what it would look like if you were somehow buried within a camera is mounted through a clear perspex view in the rear boot lid. Slightly below the deck there, but that's okay. We like breaking the fourth wheel. Now, Delaney is in trouble, and that looks like he's in trouble on fuel because he's lifting quite aggressively now. So that short pit stop, the quick snappy time through pit lane, and now under assault from Dawson. The right sim racing driver says, well, there's only 5 laps left on these tyres. He's going to start to use it. You know what? He is backing him off into Coleman.
I did say it before. I'm thinking because look at Darren Lobb was only 7 seconds up the road from Blake. Now he's picked up 3 seconds. So I think he's backing up Alan for sure. There'll be mind games and team games going on at the moment. And yeah, geez, David has picked up a lot of time. So I reckon Blake's good on fuel. He's just backing him up. And as soon as David gets past, they're both going to check out. Watch this space.
Well, the sim racing, the fishing motorsport sim racing sandwich continues for Dawson! Because Coleman is going to nudge him and he's going to check up. And Coleman has got to be careful here because the stewards will be watching this now.
Well, will they see that as a readdress prior to moving? David, running the knife edge, my friend. Oh.
And he will eventually back out of that move before he gets down into turn number 1. But now, all over the rear end here of Alan Dawson, and those rear tyres from Dawson are in trouble. They've had multiple wiggles over the last couple laps. Coleman closes, gets a great run here. He's going to try and get to the inside, but a great recovery from Dawson. It's all about car placement at the moment from Alan Dawson. And Delaney started to check out just a little bit. They will close a little bit more on him. Dawson was trying to get the job done out the windscreen. Won't get that opportunity now and has to look in the rearview mirror. So it's going to be 2 more laps, or sorry, it's going to be 3 more laps, 2.5 laps at this point in time of defense for his life for Alan Dawson.
I think Blake's still backing off, I reckon. Just trying to make sure this move gets done because they've only got, well, if they'll get all 22 laps in, that's a guaranteed. But it's just more.
Locks the brake now for Dawson, and now Coleman to the inside. This becomes the outside here at turn 12. He's gonna hang it in there, but he's pinching quite tightly onto Dawson there. Dawson gets back to the power. They're still even. Dawson down the inside. Now he's got a narrow approach to the corner. Coleman runs it wide, but Coleman comes away with the move done.
Oh, I reckon Alan might have a dip here. I reckon Alan has got better speed. That just ruined his moment, I think. Bit of a tank slapper.
And now Delaney's got a motor on because he wants to pull Coleman along and not get in his way at all.
So I reckon Blake will now check out, and Dave, or David rather, will try and follow him through. As long as Dave doesn't have a moment, that P3 is definitely his. Oh, was that being defended, or was that for a move?
This one has gone on for a whole bunch of laps because it's still Sanfuentes and Paul Gerwin going at it. Paul's just trying to get back onto a slide. He's corrected this. I think he was trying to pick up the throttle there and just had to lift out.
In a moment, that curb on the inside, that is a deadly curb. If you take too much of it, it will actually flick you out to the sand on your left. It's very, very touch and go, that curb sometimes, and it all depends how much speed and what angle you hit it at, of course.
In this battle between these two, they don't care that they're in different classes. They're having a blast.
Hey, they have just been absolutely glued to each other this whole race, haven't they? Not so much the first race, but the second race, they've just been just within elbows width of each other. It's just been a good race from both, hasn't it?
Well, Darren Lobb has just crossed the start-finish line. He will pick up the white flag, and that means there is only one more lap left to run. And he has checked
That is
out...
a monumental lead.
And if some of the dive bombs that we've seen so far tonight have come from Italy and then from China, this one has been a race lead that has run itself off into outer space, and Delaney might be short on fuel because David Coleman's now through.
What's going on there? Yeah, right, that's not something I was expecting.
That was a huge lift at turn number one. Blake Delaney's short. There's no way he's getting home. He is so short on fuel.
Can we get Sand on board of Blake Delaney and just see if he's clutching in? Ah, smart man. Is he fuel saving by any chance, Shibby? Hard to say.
Tough call. Tough call. No.
Well, the other thing I could think of was Blake wasn't racing last weekend, and David was. So the only thing I could think of is maybe he's thinking, well, Dave Moles will get the points, not me. That's the only thing I can think of. Because Jamie Dyke's not here either tonight, so I suppose the focus will be on David Coleman. That's the only thing I could think of. That's the only logical explanation.
Well, he's going to get the job done as David Coleman finishing P2. What a night it's going to be for Dave Coleman here in Circuit De Barcelona Catalunya. It's a happy trip once more. Went away for a couple of weeks, home to South Africa. He's returned to the sim racing world, and Darren Lobb makes it his racing world here tonight from Circuit De Barcelona Catalunya. Your sprint and feature winner. And finally, resolved is going to be this battle between Coleman and Blake Delaney. Blake Delaney racking up style points at the line. We'll get a huge tank slapper on out of the last corner. He'll be happy with that. Great finish with a P3 and P4. Just about might pick himself up an overall P2 finish there from Blake Delaney. Might be good enough for it. Might be.
Oh.
Because David Coleman finished race number one in P18. P18 to P2 for Dave Coleman. That is a finish. That's a drive. Alan Dawson, P6 to P4 in race number two, finished P5 in race number one. So a little bit further back from Blake Delaney. So it is going to be Blake Delaney that will come out with P2 overall in the round. It might actually be Dawson that'll sneak away with P3 overall as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Just want to race to the finish. And Matty Keane is going to pick up the round victory with a WW in the Super 2 class as well.
Beautiful.
What a drive from Peter Pavlovich. That will be his best finish in Super 2 of the season as well. And that's a whole bank of points that he so sorely needed. And Andrew Cowan as well. Another great finish from him. P16 on the grid to P10 overall in the race. P3 for the second race in his class. That's a great job by him. David Blake's run a reasonable race as well. Chris Miller, Jeremy Bush. There's a few drivers in there. And we'll run through. Bruce Tannick finished a long way down in terms of Super 1 overall finishes. So he needed some more points to try and push back towards everyone else. But look, what a drive from Matty Keane. He'll be over the moon with that one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a good result for him. Excellent result.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is the results from your feature race here. 13 seconds, the winning margin from Darren Lobb. Half a second from P2 back to P3, and only another second further distant to Alan Dawson. So the podium itself, the round end, quite closely contested by everyone else, but it was Darren Lobb's show once more up in front of the field. Robbie Bradbury sold a nice pit stop to his crew, managed to come out nice and far up. And Sam Noble, great starter. He'll be ruining a couple of opportunities to pull that car up a lot cleaner at turn 4 Repsol corner in the first race. He had 2 shots at it to lead the race down in there, and 2 times he did not come away with the race lead, more or less. Didn't even come away with an apex from 2 attempts. Matty Keane, what a race from him. Peter Pavlovich and the Century Motorsports entry, and Andrew Cowan in the Performance Sim Racing car. David Blake, Chris Miller, Jeremy Bush, Daniel Fritz, Michael Quash, and Jared Cifuentes will finish just in front of Paulie Girl, and those guys attached at the hip just about right the way through. And Brad Wall, all the way back down there, he will be looking at the end result here from the feature race, and he'll be going, this is another one that slipped away. When you throw some things at the wall, sometimes they stick and sometimes they haven't. From Brad Wall's season so far, it's been more of the latter and less of the former. Moving on to our podium celebrations here in a few minutes' time. I'm guessing we're probably going to be looking at, we'll definitely be looking at Darren Lobb as your round winner. It's probably going to be Blake, Delaney in P2 and Alan Dawson in P3. My suggestions for our overall point score. But Husey, thank you for joining me on the booth here tonight, mate. It's been a cracker. I mean, this is Sunday Night Motorsport.
Yeah, cheers for having me, Scotty. And Shibi is good. Yeah, absolutely ripping races, both first race and second race. It was just awesome. There's action and battles, from the front all the way to the back of the grid. It wasn't 1 or 2 cars. It was most cases like 4 or 5 or 6 cars having a tussle. So, yeah, no, awesome experience, mate. Really enjoyed commentating and being able to watch it with yourself and Shibi. It was excellent, mate. Appreciate you having me. So do we have the podium finishes in the green room?
Yeah, we've got to jump straight into our podium celebrations. Helps when you press the unmute button on your microphone.
Yeah.
I had a whole bit going there.
Oh.
So David Coleman is P2. It's going to be Blake Delaney that we'll actually talk to first from P number 3. And Mr. Delaney, how you going? How was Sandown yesterday, mate?
All 3 days were really good at Sandown.
All 3 days?
Yep. Took the young fella, he enjoyed it. The whole fishy crew were there. I'm sure. How did you find out about it? Saw it on Facebook or?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, we stalk you guys like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, no, the whole fishy crew was there supporting one of our own, Declan Fraser, who took out race 1 in the Super 2 and then did pretty well in the second race, although there was a fair bit of carnage in front of him.
Well, that's what we're looking at the moment on screen, is that race start. You were searching for a little bit of opportunity when I believe that was Michael Quash in front of you, just left you enough space on the left-hand side to get the car out there, and it was down in the weeds. So it was a hectic race to start, but both races were quite hectic for you, going from P23 to P4 in the first race.
Yeah, look, the first race was I just got squeezed, and I think old mate on the outside unfortunately ended up in the grass. There was nowhere I could go. Go on the inside, I can't remember. I think it was a right car, sort of come across from the left to the right, and then I was squeezed, and it ended up being a sort of a concertina hit across to the right, and obviously race control deemed that as a no incident, which is fair enough. But yeah, bit frustrating from both starts. That second start, I was probably a little bit too nice. Just braked and eased off when I was on the grass, when I should have just left the loud pedal going.
Well, sometimes it's caution is the better part of valor. I mean, it's worked out for you in the end, back onto the podium in terms of things. And to be perfectly honest, it's sometimes it's about defending the car. You've got to, in order to finish first you must finish. Was I think the approach that was taken there.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun though, Scotty. It was a good race. I think Lobby was just way too fast out in front. I was saving fuel. I just took a heap less fuel at the pit stop to make sure that I covered off Dawson, and then keep him behind me while saving fuel, a lot of it. And thankfully Coleman got up there, and then let him pass just to make sure that we can do some burnouts at the end, save a bit of fuel.
It looks like rear tyres were taking a fair bit of stress there tonight. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but once you got clear of Dawson, and he was basically hanging those rear tyres out to dry. It looked like Stefan Lawrence as well with the Right Sim Racing boys. So whatever they were doing with their set, it was just working those rears hard. How was the tyre wear from your perspective?
They were drift tyres, so it was pretty good. I mean, obviously, if you were watching the broadcast, you'd be loving the drift tyres, but yeah, it was hard to hang on to them. Once it got to lap 10, 12, was just, yeah, they were gone. Obviously really good for visuals on the broadcast, but not so great for us trying to keep the traction down out of the turns. But we put a pretty good setup on tonight, so fairly happy. I think we drove from 23rd to 4th in the first one, and then got a shocking start. Ended up 12th at turn 1, and then it was the rest was history.
Well, mate, another cracking performance from you and the Fishy Boys. We'll let you lead things off because David will jump in here and thank the sponsors once again. So you jump in there before he gets the opportunity. You finished third, but that means you're first in terms of the podium.
Yep. Fantastic. Thanks very much for the Fishy Boys. Awesome weekend too, by the way. If you guys didn't see it, jump on and have a look. We got a fair bit of airtime on KO or Fox Sports during the Super 2 race. Thank you very much to West End Motor Group, Parramatta Peugeot Professional, Parramatta City Great Wall, West End Mazda, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, DC Shades, Relax Marine and Game Fishing, Infinity Designs, Adrenaline Images, and the man who puts all the setups together, Precision Sim Training, Josh Thomas.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the driver of the number 08 for Fishy Motorsports, Blake Delaney.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. On your Husey, on your Scotty, and thanks, Shibby.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
Moving on now to the next of the Fishy Boys on the podium. It is the driver of the 640. Hasn't had a bang-up run in most of the other series, but that doesn't matter because when Sundays roll around and David Coleman's on the grid, you know it's going to be another cracking race.
That's what we like to hope, but it doesn't always end that way.
Dave, Blake was telling us a little bit about, obviously, the get-together down in Melbourne so far this weekend, and then obviously trying to get home in time to run SRW. It's been a hectic weekend for you boys, but I dare say there's probably a grin from ear to ear at this point in time.
Yeah, pretty rapt. It was a fantastic weekend. It's good to know the sim community can all get along as a big family. I wouldn't say we're a team. I'd probably say we're more a family. We all get along, which is great. There's no animosity or anything like that. So it's been a really good weekend.
Mate, obviously supporting your guys down there in the Super 2 at Sandown Raceway, but for you, simulator duties here from Circuit De Barcelona Catalunya. Blake said the rear tyres were struggling. They were not happy whatsoever, but it sounds like you guys had a lot of fun coming sideways through most of the corners.
Yeah, don't mind a twitchy car. It's very easy to get it to turn on the throttle than it is with the steering wheel. So I actually didn't find it too bad, but I hadn't done too many laps, so I probably wasn't at my full potential, to be honest. But I think the setup was pretty good as well. So yeah, I didn't find it too bad.
So walk us through a little bit with case of sort of two different kinds of races this evening. Race number 1, P18, drive-through penalty, served it on the last lap of the race. Obviously, that attracted a post-race penalty there as well. But P18 to P2 in race number 2. Look, sometimes you got to take a little bit of pain for a little bit of gain.
Yeah, pretty much. I probably caught myself out because I went for a gap in the first race. It wasn't there, and then I pinched the brakes, and I didn't think I had any contact with anyone until I looked at the replay. So I do apologise to the guys for that. It was I didn't feel anything. But yeah, the second race, I actually had probably pretty good pace, I think, in the end, to be honest. But the lobby's too quick, and Blake didn't take enough fuel, so it was a good result in the end.
Well, let's talk about that incident in race number one because we had a look at it on board as well. So from your perspective, it was a case of one of those things. That, and as a sim racer, or just as a racer, it doesn't matter whether you're a sim racer or not. The gap opened and then the gap closed immediately, and it's just like that sometimes. There's no malice involved in that. You're just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, that's what it felt, and I actually took the wrong ratio, so I was on, I think, the 1074, so I had really good drive on all those slower corners, which that's probably why I went for it, because I knew if I can get my nose in there, I'd have to drive out the corner. But yeah, I just pinched the brake, and obviously the rear come around, so it was a bit frustrating, especially to get that thing on lap 9. Like, I thought it was home and hose. So, but the penalty's pretty fair.
Right, appreciate the honesty as well with copping that one on the chin. It is a little bit like that. That's a moment from race number 2 that's just popped up there on screen as well. Cars diving into the inside in the hairpin. Lap 1 around here. It's about picking a line. It's about picking a gap, and you managed to pick it successfully in race number 2.
Pretty much. Like, truth is, you're gonna make the most starts. You're gonna make the most positions gained probably on the start. So if you can get a good one, it obviously pays off in the end. Like, Blake had a ripper in race 1, and I think I went from 18th to 10th by the first few corners. So can't complain. Racing's pretty tight too this season with both splits, to be honest, together.
Talk to us a little bit about the mindset in terms of that as well, because obviously in race number 1 you were sort of mired up a little bit in with the Super 2 guys. It's tricky sometimes because you're not 100% certain of who's in class, who's not. Do you have anything that's sort of giving you any sort of aids in that regard?
We're all racers, mate. So, obviously want to race clean, so it's try and make as many passes as you can, nice and tidy.
So there's no, you're not 100% aware of who's in Super 2, who's in Super 1, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You've got to race them. You've got to get that position away from them.
There's some fast guys that probably should be in Super 1, to be honest. But, we're all on the track together, so obviously we just race together.
Well, mate, that's another race in the books from you, from Circuit De Barcelona Catalunya. Your opportunity to thank the sponsors that make it possible for you.
Blake, I thank them all, so I'll leave that there. Otherwise, we'll let Lobby have some time.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is the driver in the number 640, position number 2 in your feeder race here tonight, David Coleman.
Thanks, boys.
And finally, we'll move on to our. Well, actually, we've got an extra special interview that's coming your way. Matty Keane, because I've spoken to him a few times over the last couple of weeks, mainly about truck series racing, but now it's his opportunity to get celebratory in the podium. Mr. Keane, how the bloomin' heck are you?
I'm Matt Keane. If you don't chew Big Red, then...
Well, it sounds like you've been looking forward to this opportunity for a fair while.
The boys told me I had to do it, so...
I agree. I thoroughly agree, mate. Interesting race here for SLM Motorsports here tonight. But 2 wins in terms of Super 2. Yeah, that's a big bank of points.
Yeah, thank God I'm finally keeping the thing on the black stuff. The first few rounds, getting involved in certain unfortunate things, and it's finally turned around, and it's nice to be running at the front and even in the top 10 overall, trying to chase down the big boys.
Mate, how are you finding it so far? I mean, Super 2, and with how mixed up the fields are, like we saw Gerard Sanfuentes just had a torrid night sort of thing. He was a Super 1 driver that was sort of hanging around at the tail end of the Super 2 drivers, but for you, it was up at the front end of town in terms of Super 2. How hard were you racing everybody? Was there any understanding of where you were in terms of the overall positioning?
Yeah, I had a rough idea. Some of the SLM boys are watching and giving me a few little hints of who's in what class, but I knew roughly who had the pace over myself anyway. So I just raced who I knew I could slot in with.
Mate, happy hunting ground normally for you here in Spain, or is this come from nowhere sort of result from you?
This is an absolute horrid track. Whoever picked this layout needs to be shot.
Well, you don't pull your punches. Look, I will talk to you. We've had a few conversations about over racing over the last couple of weeks, mate. How are you feeling about tomorrow night from Auto Club?
I'm thinking I'm going to end up in a wall somewhere.
Is it Brad Wall that you'll end up inside?
I'm hoping not. I've had a few different cars inside me in that series so far, but I'm normally in the top 10 somewhere and enjoying the run at the front, but unfortunately, just again getting caught in stuff in the dying stages. Unfortunately.
Well, I tell you what, Matty, this has been a long time coming, and I'm so glad you did pop in. I will give you the opportunity to thank the sponsors that make it possible for SLM Motorsports and Driver of the 38.
Yeah,
You haven't prepared this at all, have you? You've got no idea.
no, hell no. But no, SLM doesn't have any current sponsors at the moment. It's all run by myself and a couple of the boys chip in. So I want to thank the boys for that. But it's finally starting to head in the right direction now. So, but I'd like to thank you guys for the broadcast and running a great series.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Matty Keane, and I will say a big shout out your way. I'm going to tell Connor Nixon that he put you up to this result over the weekend. He was talking you up to me the other night, so I had the opportunity to drive an LMP1 with him over the weekend, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Matty Keane's on for a good result this weekend. The results coming his way. He's always talking about how good it is here." So congratulations, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Matty Keane winning his Super 2 tonight, driver of the 38 for SLM Motorsports. And finally, without further ado, winner of tonight's round, both races this evening, driver of the 99, Darren Lobb.
Hello, boys. It was
Mate.
tough interview to follow that intro there about sucking on the red things or whatever it was.
When did you get back from South Africa, my friend? How was the trip? How was the holiday?
Yeah, holiday was bloody good. 10 days, really short and action-packed. Went all the way over there to support the Springboks and ended up watching the All Blacks give them a good lesson in rugby towards the end of it. So, yeah, good couple of days. It's, well, more than a couple of days. South African couple, right, means 10. And, yeah, we were back home Tuesday night. So it's the first time on the rig since, I don't know, a good couple of weeks, probably since the last round at Sebring. So I had to reacquaint myself with my baby.
Mate, home, settled in now, nice and comfortable, and it clearly showed. Apparently, taking 3 weeks off, if your name's Darren Lobb, means absolutely nothing. You looked all at home here in Spain.
You're supposed to say I was faster now than what I was before, and maybe I should take 3 weeks off all the time, eh? No, it was actually good fun. I got to be honest. I enjoy getting in the rig and having a race around in the evenings and that. And it's especially when I could hear the baby crying upstairs and the missus running up and down to settle him down with his jet lag. I could just buzz around on the sim. It's pretty good fun.
Oh no! Oh, I hope she can't hear you right now because you're going to get out of this sim rig and all of a sudden there will be no getting back into it.
Mate, I'm sleeping downstairs with the dogs tonight. I reckon straight in the garage. She better be cheering one upstairs quietly on her phone as well.
Mate, interesting. Are you enjoying the reverse grid, the reverse top tens, getting through the traffic? Like you didn't just get aggressive like straight away, but it's about car positioning. It's about thinking through your overtakes. It's about thinking how aggressive you want to be and sort of keeping track of a few different guys. So it just adds something different to the racing.
Yeah, I think it's a great adding to the season. I don't know if we ran them last season. I don't remember doing one last season, but the difficulty with reverse grid is if you run a really short race, it forces the Foster guys to be really aggressive. We're running a reverse grid over 22 laps tonight. Really means you can kind of plan your passes, and I think I made it all the way to the front and without an incident. And that's kind of what the racing's supposed to be. It makes for good TV, but it also gives the guys, in the back end of the top 10 a chance to race up front, which is pretty good. That's it's the way you learn. We've all been there, done that. So yeah, I think it's a bloody good addition to the league, man. It's good fun. I'm sure you guys enjoyed having a punt on it. That run down into turn one got really, really hairy from our side. I think it was 4 or 5 cars wide with a car in the dirt. It was pretty good.
Oh, it's just about that. And I mean, for yourself, who normally qualifies at the top end of town, it's all of a sudden you're looking at a few cars and you're actually having to watch cars that don't get a good getaway. You're looking for the gap. You're constantly thinking, you're looking at all 3 mirrors as well as through the windscreen as well. It is about race management from the get-go.
Yeah, it's good fun. It just adds a different element to it. I mean, I got to be honest, it's as fun as it is getting the wins and that sort of thing, riding out front and being 5 to 10 seconds ahead is pretty boring. There was one point in that first part of the race where I looked back to see where Blake was. I saw he had started from the back, and I thought, oh, that could make things pretty interesting in a reverse grid race. So might have to give that a crack at some stage.
Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you back here again, and I tell you what, it's been awesome to watch you. At the end of the town, it's 15 seconds, but it was just so good watching that first 5 or 10 laps, mate. So congratulations tonight. Thank you for coming back in. Thank you for jumping back in, and your opportunity to thank you the people make it possible for you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's obviously just a big thank you to you guys. It's always nice to go have a look at a stream afterwards and give our sponsors and friends and family something to watch, which is always great. And then just on a team perspective, big thank you to Barry Manon from Manon Racing Products, and then my team out in Oz, DPR. Big thanks to Simrigs.com, MP Designs, and Phoenix Smokers, our sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Darren Lobb, the South African surprise driver in the 99, and returning to the sim tonight. And hopefully he will be able to return next week. Who knows? His wife might sell the sim rig in between weeks at this rate after the way he talked about it here tonight. Darren, we'll see you again next week, mate.
She better not. Thanks, boys. I'll hopefully see you next week. Otherwise, she'll sell the thing for what I told her I paid for it, right? Which would be a tragedy for everyone.
Oh, it gets worse. He's dug himself a hole now as well.
Oh, big one, man. See you guys next week.
See you next week, Darren. Well, Hughesy, sun up to sundown, it has been another phenomenal weekend courtesy of Sim Racing World. That's your V8 Supercars on a Sunday night. You think you're going to stick around if the opportunity opens itself up again for a Sunday night broadcast?
Yeah, mate. If I can stick my nose in and have another dip at it, mate, with yourself and Shibby, then yeah, I'll put my hand up if there's an opening for sure, mate. No dramas whatsoever on my end, buddy. As long as you're happy to have me back again and some funny innuendos.
No, get him out. Okay, I shouldn't have offered that. That was yeah. It shouldn't have opened my mouth. I've offered him a slot back here on the commentary team. That's never happening. Oh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you've had a giggle because we've certainly had a giggle here in the commentary booth. Darren Lobb's had a giggle at his wife's expense, unfortunately, but he's also had a giggle in terms of the point situation because wins from both of the races. That's it. That's all there is to say here tonight. Big shout out to all the sponsors that make it possible. I'm sure Darren Lobb will walk away with the Melville Equipment Corporation fastest lap from both races here tonight. DSL Welding Services sponsor of V8 Supercars here on Sim Racing World, Pagny and Advanced Simulation sponsors of the stream. And don't forget, Dragon RC, they make it possible for our other series as well. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, your action returns with round number 5 of the NASCAR Truck Series live, coming to you courtesy of California Racing, Auto Club Speedway. They call it California in a few different places, but Auto Club is generally what it's referred to. Then we'll move on to Tuesday. We'll send it slideways once more with the Dirt 360 winged sprint cars. They are a joy to watch, and our producer gets his opportunity to jump in the thing and press the foot to the floor. Wednesday night, we will return to your screen with the first of our super shows. It is TCRs followed by Formula 3s, some of the best racing that you've seen. Adam Hughes will return to action on Thursday nights alongside myself in what becomes the Radicals, followed by the Adam Hughes Dominates the World Porsche Cup Series, and then your V8 Supercars once again on Sunday night. We hope you have enjoyed everything that you've seen from the Sim Racing World broadcast team so far tonight. My name's Scotty Ralligan Rankin. He's Adam Hughesy Hughes, the worst Hughesy. That's okay, we understand. And he's Shibby Howard on the broadcast behind the screen. We'll see you tomorrow night for more racing action.
Cheers, guys.